to the Toffee Blue Jaw source for all things Everton, and welcome to the opposition view segment where we are looking ahead to our next game by speaking to a fan of the opponent. In that case, that is Newcastle United supporter Matthew Shuttleworth from the Gallagher Shots. Welcome to the show, Matthew. Obviously, Everton versus Newcastle coming up on Thursday evening under the lights at Goodison Park. How are you feeling as a Newcastle fan going into this one? Obviously, two very different form books at the moment.
Definitely. Well, thanks for having me, James. I'm never the most confident Newcastle supporter because of getting my fingers burnt in the past. But I have to say that this run of form we've been on has been nothing short of breathtaking. It's something I never thought would be able to happen. I know we brought in a lot of players in January, and we've got ourselves a new manager in Eddie Howe, but I just didn't think he was going to be a miracle worker. I was a big fan of Eddie Howe, and I just thought it doesn't matter who you bring in, that defence has been, in particular, been coached into the ground by the previous manager, and I just thought we were going to concede too many goals. And how wrong was I for us to, the recruitment's been fantastic. We've not went and signed superstars. We've signed a bit of quality and some proper, Premier League experience. And you've got Matt Targett there, Dan Burn, Kieran Trippier, who's sadly injured at the moment, who've just totally, sorted that defence right out along with the coaching. And we've seen the likes of Joe Linton and Shelby and Cher and Willett all come to the forefront again, thanks to what has to be the manager, it has to be said. But I'm feeling quietly confident, but not confident as much that I think we're definitely going to get a result. With the situation you guys are in, it's so unpredictable. I know you aren't in great form. We got beat at the weekend, but we gave a great performance. So hopefully they'll still see that as a moral victory. But I really couldn't make a prediction. I'm hoping we can score the first goal. That's all I can say.
Yeah, and I think, like I say, it's very much on a knife edge, this game in particular. But obviously, looking back on the whole season, what have you made of Newcastle this season? Obviously, it's almost like a tale of two seasons within one, isn't it?
100%. To call it a roller coaster would be the biggest understatement in the world, mate. It started off just exactly how we expected it to. A lot of social media football fans, armchair football fans, people who don't really know Newcastle United, don't watch us, would have probably said that Steve Bruce is just going to keep you in the Premier League. He's a solid manager. We've been saying fairly quickly after he arrived that he's getting very lucky. We are walking away from games thinking, how have we got that result? Don't get me wrong, we still enjoyed the wins, but it just got progressively worse. We could see the performances, the organisation getting progressively worse, the lack of ideas. And going into this new season, we just thought with the recruitment, we brought in Joe Willock, which obviously was a good signing considering how he done the previous season. But once I just saw the players play the first couple of games, it was painfully evident that we had not had a good pre-season. The lads weren't fit. Callum Wilson has since hinted on that in various podcasts. So has some of the players since Steve Bruce has been there. And it was just, you were on a hide into nothing. Even on games where you thought you might get a result of death last minute, Southampton 2-1 up in the 92nd minute, just scored, conceded a penalty straight away and drew a draw 2-2. Was it 1-1? Sorry, 1-1. But it was just a case of which I thought, we're going down. We're going down. There's not a chance in hell we're staying in this league. And then October comes and this whirlwind of a takeover happens out of what felt like the ashes because we thought it was dead. And then there was a sort of acclimatizing period where I still had my doubts because, we still had Bruce in for one game. We brought Graham Jones in. He didn't do too great. He got a couple of very lucky draws. And Eddie Howe came in and I think he soon realised the enormity of the task at hand. The defence was just a shambles. And forgive my poetic, speech, but he's never going to make chocolate cake out of dog shit. It was just he couldn't work miracles, and I just didn't think he had enough time. And we knew there was a massive January ahead, and we've had a huge January. It was expected, but you look at some of the tweets and some of the things that have been said about this club. Chris Wood, he got, they laughed their heads off when they signed him. I know he's only scored one goal, but he's been a huge part of the ethos and the work rate. Dan Burn, Matt Targett, some people saw as underwhelming, I saw as sensible, and they've been two of the best signings. Kieran Trippier was a big name, obviously a household name, and he played like one. You guys know he had an absolutely brilliant game against you guys at St James's Park, but he's got injured. But these players and this manager have just galvanised this group. You can tell they're all fighting for each other. And for me, that's why, we're still not safe now. And I'll never say we're safe. I'll never say we're going to be all right, because I just don't want to, jinx it. But I'm more confident, I'm more proud in this team now than I've been in a long time. I appreciate that it's circumstantial. We're now technically one of the richest clubs in the world, but it's going to take time to even realise a small portion of that potential that we have. But I know it's a long answer, but it's been an absolute roller coaster, a headache, ups and downs, and recently more ups than downs. And I hope we can just keep riding that crest of a wave, hopefully with a result on Thursday.
Yeah, I think that's a good way of putting it, really, a roller coaster. And I think the next question was going to be, what have you made of Everton this season? And I'll tell you what I made of Everton. If you called your season a roller coaster, ours is a bit like a roller coaster, only someone's took a hacksaw to the roller coaster and cut off the track, so you go flying off in midair. That's what it's like. That's what our roller coaster's been like this season. It's just when you don't think it could possibly get any worse, something else comes along and kicks you up the backside. It's been an interesting one. But as an outsider looking in, what have you made of it? There's been a lot made of it by loads of outsiders in the press. What was you guys make of it?
James, we spoke previously, and I said I don't want to sort of preach negativity to you guys, but it just feels so similar to some of the seasons we've had, not just the relegation ones. I'm not saying it means you're definitely going to get relegated. It just, outside looking in, it's like, there's a massive disdain towards the owner. There's no footballing organisation. The group of players you've got are too good to go down, good on paper, but as you've said, just being disgraceful and, lacking fight and drive and grit. Some of them haven't been in a dogfight before, where you need to learn, because you like you've said, Everton haven't been relegated before. You'd think that not being part of the first team to relegate Everton from the Premier League would be enough to drive a place to at least eke out a few results. It hasn't happened. Now, I love Rafa Benitez. I've got a lot of time for him, but I appreciate he wasn't the man for the job at your place. He started off okay, but then soon started, made some funny decisions. Luca Dean going out the door was a crazy one. And then Lampard came in, and it's just all chaotic. It's what it is. It's chaos, and that only breeds negative results. And I must say that week to week, I get more and more surprised by the games you lose. I know Wolves are having a great season, or sort of. They started off really well. They're definitely still trying to get into those European places. When I saw the beat you 1-0 at the weekend whilst I was watching the Newcastle game, I still was shocked. I know Everton aren't playing well, but I still, every time you get beat and you keep adding to this run of, only one win in whatever amount of games, it shocks me. So it's shocking, really. There's people with a banter or whatever you want to say, and people might revel in it. People might joke about it. My club's been the targets for loads of just laugh. You're a laughing stock. You're a joke club. All this, you sort of just try and, but it's not nice. And it just seems like it's one of those seasons. Everton have one of those seasons that Newcastle have had a few of. And hopefully for you, hopefully if it's not at the expense of Newcastle anyway, you stay up and sort of try and get your bearings again and crack on, because it's a funny situation, but the best word I can use is chaotic.
Yeah, I think it has been chaotic. I think, to be honest, you guys probably as fans understood it as well as anyone with like Ashley, but I think, obviously, like you say, the football being played on the pitch, the state in the boardroom, the lack of hope for the future. I think the fans are just heartbroken about the state of the club. I think that's, like you say, all the banter and that, obviously, coming at our expense. We are like the laughing stock of the league at the moment. That's all I told you about the stat that come up today. We've had more players in court since September than we've had Premier League wins, things like that. But in all seriousness, with us as supporters, it's breaking our hearts. I think it's, it's a proud club. It's an old, proud club. Even in the modern era, it's sort of, we have like very old school roots, and to see these players like tarnishing the club, what the club stands for, and taking a massive dump on it, really is really breaking hearts, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's that the fans are distraught about what they're seeing.
I've been there, mate. Yeah,
like I say,
of
we're
course.
trying to drag the players through this and try and provide atmospheres at home that can help get results and get us over the line. But that seems to be our best chance, really.
Yeah, I mean it's a real tough one. I mean, like I said, it's just I've been there, and you're talking about trying to create that atmosphere, but it's a double-edged sword. It's catch-22 because you can have such vociferous, loud support, but that can soon turn, because if you're in a dogfight and fans are showing that they're willing to shout for you, and try and drag you across the line, like you say, and you go and concede a stupid goal, you sort of at least
The
half
fans
of your
feel
fan
like
base.
the fans feel like again, like you say, like I just said, like you're taking a massive dump on them. If that
Yeah,
when they give that level of support and you just throw it in the faces, basically.
yeah, definitely.
But to be honest, like, the atmosphere has been very toxic for the majority of the season. This has only really been since Frank Lampard took over, or at least since Rafa Benitez was sacked. The ground was very toxic before that anyway. But the atmosphere has improved to some extent, but the fans are becoming more and more bereft, running out of hope, basically, as the bad run goes on. Like I say, we needed the manager to sort of turn things around, and I think Lampard hasn't had enough of an effect so far. Whether that'll take a bit more time, and out of nowhere we might pick a few results up, we don't know. That's all we can hope for. But on that note, the next question I was going to ask actually is, obviously you mentioned a lot of it during explaining how the season was, but what do you make of Eddie Howe? I think obviously I think we've been linked with him in the past, and a lot of fans have been a bit concerned about his defensive record at Bournemouth,
Yeah,
but he seems to have got you pretty solid.
definitely has. When we obviously there was huge talk of, and some people would let you believe that it was a done deal that we were going to get Unai Emery in. Now, that definitely would have took him. Very good manager, is doing very well at Villarreal. Had a mixed spell at Arsenal, but that was at the time where they were they still are in a sort of state of flux. But I would have definitely took him, and I was happy to see him on his way. And then it obviously all fell through, and Eddie Howe was the second choice. I'd already liked Eddie Howe. I like how he just comes across. Now, that can only count for so much. You need to be a good football manager and a good coach. And what we needed was a coach, an actual coach. The football manager position at Newcastle has never been a manager position. I mean, in football, in modern football, you're very rarely a manager anymore. You're the head coach. But we needed a head coach. Steve Bruce was the furthest thing from a football coach that I think you can get. He proved that in his work ethic, is the way he dealt with the media, the way he dealt with the fans, his formations, his ideas, his lack of organisation, his lack of a plan B. But Eddie's came in, and I was reading articles saying how he's a workaholic. He'll continue to do as much as he can to make things better, and he's just proved that. He's got the lads in nearly every day for training. We've noticed huge improvements in players like John Joe Shelby, Fabian Schär, Joe Willock. But the one that we need to speak about is Joe Linton. I mean, Joe Linton, £40 million striker. He's brought him back in the midfield, and back in the midfield, brought him into midfield, and he's been a revelation. And so he spotted that, and he thought, you know what, I'm going to make a formation you're going to be not the focal point, but you're going to be the Patrick Vieira, if you will. He's better than Patrick Vieira anyway. I'm joking. But no, I answer your question, Eddie Howe is the way he's dealt with the fans. That you can tell he's trying to instill belief in the team. Just little things he's done around the training ground. You hear the way the players talk about him. Players like Ryan Fraser, I know he's worked with him previously, but you mentioned his defensive record. I mean, some of our fans, me included, were worried. You know, he did go down with Bournemouth, but you need to realise that he was with them. How many long with him in the Premier League for? 5 seasons.
5 seasons to it up, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a huge achievement in itself. You know, they'd overachieved every season, and the one season it goes wrong. Yeah, fair enough. He couldn't inspire them, but you hear stories about he didn't want to jump straight back in. Certain broadcasters, who I won't name on here because I have no respect for them, would have said that he bottled the Celtic job. That's not the case, I don't think. I think he just wanted things to be right. And I know he's probably getting paid a very handsome wage at Newcastle, but he apparently, you know, in his time between jobs was going over to Atletico Madrid and asking Diego Simeone if he can go and watch like training sessions there. He was going to different clubs around Europe and just saying, can I come and watch? Can I get ideas? That's the type of manager we've got. Look, football's a very fickle business, and a string of terrible results, and you do start questioning managers. That's why most clubs haven't had the same manager for a big stretch of time. But right now, I've got a lot of respect for Eddie Howe, and I'm very thankful that he's there. Just the person we need right now, and hopefully he can keep these results coming, because I still think we need 1 or 2 wins in the next 11, 12 games.
Yeah, I think we need more than that, definitely. And obviously some of that brings us obviously to this game. Like there's so much riding on it.
Yeah.
Just one more thing before actually we go to the game. Who's been your best and worst player for Newcastle this season?
I wanted to be clever there and go worst player, Joe Linton, best player, Joe Linton, because of the first 7 or 8 games he was awful. He was just the player that we've come to know that is of Joe Linton, just pretty useless. But he's again just became this revelation, this beast, this commanding player who's in the middle of the pitch. He's just bossing it. He's playing so well. But I mean, it's a hard one to say, because these players, a lot of them just you started to think that they were part of the problem under Steve Bruce, that they were playing that badly. But they've all proven that they've got a bit about them. I don't want to say a worst player, because I think it's really harsh. I don't know. I'm going to abstain. I'm going to plead the fifth, as the Americans say. But best, I'm probably going to say. I mean, I want to say Joe Linton just because of his revelation. But since January, Trippy's been amazing, even though he only played 4 games. Matt Targett, Dan Burn, if he keeps playing till the end of the season, touch wood, I'm not saying he's going to get injured. Dan Burn keeps playing the way he's playing till the end of the season. Although we only got him in January, he is, for me, player of the season. He's been absolutely fantastic. He's steadied that woeful defence. He's a local lad, which helps. He gets it. He's been putting his body on the line. He's just epitomises everything about Newcastle. So maybe come back to me at the end of the season and ask who would be the best players. But I mean, worst one. It's such a harsh thing to say when things are so positive right now. I don't want to be too negative.
Fair play. I think with that in mind, obviously we go on to the starting 11s for this game. What would be your starting 11 for Newcastle?
Well, it all depends, mate. I mean, it's been funny, because one of the big parts of having this string of results we have is we had a pretty steady starting 11. We brought in obviously the big name Bruno Guimaraes for £40 million from Lyon, and people thought he'd go straight in the midfield, but that wasn't the case. Willock, Shelvey, and Joe Linton have been fantastic in midfield, but we've lost all 3 of them in the last 2 games. From what I'm reading, Joe Linton should be back, hopefully, fingers crossed, and Willock and Shelvey were ill, so you just don't know. Alan St. Maximin again was out with illness. He then came off the bench at the weekend, and we've just chopped and changed a canny bit because we've had to. And again, not to go back to Howe, but he lost 3 or 4 players in the space of a few days the other day. He had to totally change the system and have a pretty weak starting 11 on paper, and we played very well against Chelsea. So that wouldn't have happened in the past. But for me, Dubravka will obviously be in goal, as he always is. Matt Targett, who's been fantastic, brilliant loan signing. I hope that we can make that permanent in the summer. Again, just steady signings. We're not going to sign world beaters straight away. You need to steadily build and just try and make yourself an established Premier League team. So Matt Targett left back, Dan Burn left centre half. Right centre half, it's a funny one. Cher's been picking up a lot of knocks, again, being brilliant, but Lascelles has came back into the fray as well with the back 3. I'd hope it'd be Fabian Cher next to Dan Burn. At right back, it's probably going to be Emil Kraft. Now, I have given him a lot of stick in the past. The last couple of games, he has put in a good shift. If you're going to have some joy at Newcastle, I will say target our right side going down your left. Emil Kraft.
I'd say the very same to you about our team.
Yeah, probably, about Seamus Coleman, St. Maximin, But Kraft will probably be there because he's been very industrious. He's been very hard work, and he's done everything he's been told. He's just not a solid player. He looks like when he tries to run, he looks like his body's going faster than he can actually get across the pitch. I would rather have Manquillo there, 100%. If we can, Manquillo starts at right back for me. My prediction, though, it'll be Emil Kraft. And if we've got a full, group of players to pick from, I'd go John Joe Shelby, Joe Linton, and Guimaraes. Now he's going to be coming in at the expense of Joe Willock, who's again started playing very well. All of a sudden, got a couple of goals against West Ham and Brentford. But I just think that Guimaraes now he's made some starts, made a couple of starts, looked very good. Still has some acclimatisation to do at the Premier League. I think he needs to realise he's not going to have the ball for as long as he thinks he can, even though his skill can buy him time. But I think he'll start. So if Shelby's fit, it'd be nice to see them two playing together again like they did against Southampton. But I want to see Joe Linton back in there if he's fit, because it's that physical presence, and that's what I want to see. And if you've got the likes of Doucouré playing, we need to sort of have a go back with Joe Linton. And then the front three would be, I'd like it to be Alan St-Maximin, Ryan Fraser, and Chris Wood. But again, whether Maxi's 100% fit, I'm not too sure. Fraser got rested at the weekend and didn't come on, which tells me that he wasn't right. Fraser's been an absolute revelation since House came in. So yeah, I'd go with that front three. But if Maximin's not going to play, it'll be Jacob Murphy. Industrious player again, quite quick, should have had a penalty, Stonewall penalty at the weekend. He could possibly cause some chew if he gets switched over to the left. But I think Fraser could, just as well do that against Coleman.
To be honest, I think there's players who are retired who could give Seamus Coleman a bit of grief on that wing.
I swear, if he has a weldy on Thursday and scores, I am coming to your door, sir.
Honestly, I highly doubt it, mate. Finally, obviously, we've gone through sort of, I think, where we think the problems might be caused, but prediction for the game?
Like I said, I'm trying not to be too pessimistic at the moment because we're doing so well, but I always sort of ground myself in realism. I thought the Southampton game last Thursday, I thought we were definitely going to lose. We went 1-0 down. We've scored 2 very good goals, and we've got another massive 3 points. Chelsea again, as soon as I saw that start 11, I thought we're going to be in trouble here, and we were robbed. So it just seems like we haven't had that bad game yet, and hopefully that bad game's not going to come on Thursday. But that being said, we're stepping into a very unique situation. This is a team that are fighting for their lives. They're not exactly showing it, like you've said. But if we concede that first goal, I fear the worst, because that crowd will be on top of them. They'll be giving the players, like you said, hopefully that extra couple of yards. So we need to get our feet on the ball, and just try and quiet the crowd and try and get that first goal. If we can do that, I fancy us to win. If we do concede the first goal, in the past, I would say that's game over because we don't come from behind. We've done that in a previous game, and I feel like we could do it now, but I would probably go, I'm going to be very diplomatic and say, I think a score draw is going to happen. That's what I think. And I would take that as well, because I'd have took 2 points out of South. We've got 4 away games in a row: Southampton, Chelsea, Everton, and Spurs. 4 away games in 2 weeks. Not sorry, in 2 weeks. Three Thursday, Sunday, Thursday, then the international break. Or the break for the FA Cup, and I would have took 2 points, but we've already got 3. So if we can get a point against you guys, that's 4 out of 4, and that's all we need to stay up. Just keep going a point a game. We've got it in us to win, but I'll probably say score draw 1-1.
Good play. I think I said I'd be as optimistic as I can be. I think we might get a 2-1, but again, it's going to be a gnarly battle, and I think if the players have the stomach for the fight, we can win. But that's the concern, is maybe we haven't seen enough of that lately. But hopefully, if the fans really make it as focused as possible, it could be enough to drag us over the line. I think that's the case in this game, and I think it's also the case in the season as a whole. We're going to need that extra boost from the supporters as much as we can. It's our best chance of getting out of trouble.
Yeah.
And on that note, we finish on a bit of a lighter note at least. Try and make it a bit more light-hearted. What's your favourite film?
What's my favourite film? Oh, that's an awful question. That's worse than saying what's the worst player Newcastle have had this season.
Joe Linton, the movie.
Joe Linton, the story of a goat. That's I'm writing the script right now. I think Spielberg's interested. We'll see. But I don't have a favourite. I always have a top 10, and it always changes. But I'm always going to say, if you've never seen it, Almost Famous. And Cameron Crowe directed it. Unreal film. Go and see it. Watch it. Go out your way to watch it. Kate Hudson, great.
Excellent. We'll go with Almost Famous. But I'm pretty sure Joe in the movie will usurp that once it's released.
Yeah, 100%. He's going to get played by Denzel Washington or something like that. All action.
Yeah, well, let's hope for an all-action game as well on
I'll
for our sake anyway. I hope so. Thursday night. Look ahead now, of course, to Thursday night. Everton versus Newcastle on Thursday night under the lights, Goodison Park. Let's see what happens. Until next time, guys, thanks for tuning in. And, of course, check out Matt's channel, You Gotta Get Shots. Where else can we find you? Have you got a Twitter?
Yeah, on Twitter, Matty, Matty S90. There's Gallagher Shots on Twitter, the Always Smiling Faces podcast. Appreciate we're a Newcastle podcast, but sometimes we talk about garlic bread specials and if Die Hard's a Christmas film. So, check in sometimes. We're not a bad group of lads.
What you getting a follow right there. So there you go, guys. Check out Matt's channels and thank you for tuning in. Give us a subscribe as well. Give this video a like and let us know your opinions in the comments as well. Until next time, guys. Thanks for watching on the Toffee Blues.